A way of life. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Just wanted to come on here to talk a little bit about the new moon in Libra. First, I'm going to talk about what Libra represents and what it rules, and then I'll get into the new moon energy. So, Libra rules the seventh house. It's ruled by the planet Venus. It represents love, beauty, art, culture, peace, balance, justice, compromise, partnerships, honesty, fairness, interior design, diplomat, to be a diplomat, counselor, specifically a mediator, somebody who mediates between two people to help make a decision, like um, in a divorce or child support, um, contracts, law, judges, lawyers, romance, commitment, marriage, and harmony. Libra is the sign of um, how it represents how people relate to you, right? Um, Libras do not like to be alone. They like working in pairs. They study everything from every angle to create peace. That's why they're good at being a diplomat or a mediator. Um, they um, they may be seen as fickle and indecisive because they have multiple viewpoints on things, right? They don't just have a straight and narrow. They can see all different points, so it might come off as like they don't know what they want or they're indecisive. The shadow side to Libra is being vain, gossip, lazy, persuasive, manipulative, calculating, sneaky, and using their charm to get what they want. Um, and that pretty much wraps up what Libra represents. Now, into the new moon energy. The first order of Libra is love. That's their main focus. Romance, connection, intimacy, balance, grace, beauty, abundance, pleasure, decorating, and peace. This is a rare occurrence. This new moon specifically is rare because Venus is becoming visible. It hasn't been visible since April, and this only happens every 19 months. So for the next 9 months, Venus will be visible so specifically, normally rather, every new moon, you'll have energy for that lasts up to 2 weeks, right? And even though you don't see the culmination until every 6 months, for this new moon, because of this rare occurrence where Venus is becoming visible, this is going to be for the next 9 months that this energy will be playing out somehow, some way in your life. So this brings more opportunity for resources, finances, new ideas, for financial success, your material well-being, and improvements. This could bring new relationships, business partnerships, any kind of relationships, right? Because that's what Libra rules, specifically what the seventh house rules, is all kinds of relationships, whether that's family relationships, business relationships, um, your romantic relationships, obviously. So any relationship this is relating to, this could bring a new relationship. They'll not just be romantic or sexual. This includes business, friendships. They'll be connected with love and good communication. So anybody you meet at this time, if it's reflecting in this energy, it'll be filled with love and good communication. Venus is in her home sign of Libra, which means there will be even more options for new relationships. Anytime a planet is in their natural sign, it just expands that energy. It's also a super moon. So the effects of this are even grander than any normal full moon or new moon. Um, you'll have more options to change something about an existing relationship, an opportunity to get out of this codependent energy. This allows to bring balance, justice, fun, and connection in an intimate way. I think, I forget what I was watching, um, a video with Fantasia and her husband, and they was talking about submission. And I know this is like a huge thing that's going on right now, societal wise, right? And what's happening, or what has happened, is that over the years, because women have had to take on the head of household role, they've become more masculine in a way where submission is kind of like not, I don't want to say it's not it's not like normal anymore, right? It's not the norm anymore, right? To be submissive. But I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding with that. I feel like as women, we had to step up and play a certain role because of the position that we was put in. But I don't think that that means that we don't want to be submissive. And I'll be specific and speak to myself as a woman. Because I think the understanding of what being submissive is has been ingrained in us, that it's about power and control and submitting to a man in a type of way that leaves you like, maybe in my mom's generation. My mom's like, what, 60 something now. I hope I get that right, she'll kill me. But back in the 70s maybe, or even further back than that, where women were seen as submissive in a type of way where they weren't able to work, or they weren't able to do certain things. And I think that idea of submission is what women are not standing for anymore, right? In this kind of way where we have taken our power back, and we're saying, look, I've been doing both roles now for how long? I can do both. I don't need to be submissive. I think there's a misunderstanding there, and that's what I feel like this energy is going to give us the opportunity to fix, specifically in a romantic relationship, where we're giving back the power to each other and not being in this codependent energy, or this fearful energy that one person might be making more than the other, and just because they're not wearing quote unquote the pants in the relationship, that ideology is dying. But we have to be able to redefine what that means moving forward now for this generation and where we're at in this societal norm, right? So going back to the video that I was watching, and if I can find it, I'll post it in the link below, with the link below. Fantasia and her husband was speaking specifically about what I'm saying, right? Where maybe they both had to work. They both had their own ideas and own lives away from each other. But when they come together, what I think was most important was what they were learning about each other and their being apart, was that they were still on the same wavelength. And that made Fantasia feel safe and secure in some type of way where, there are certain things that he didn't have to ask for or do. She just did it submissively, right? Because she knows her role. She's being, she's felt secure. She feels secured, and still being able to do what she doesn't have to dumb herself down, right? Or be somebody other than what she is. And remember, so this is what we're breaking out of, right? This idea of women having to be a certain way in order to be submissive. We're just redefining it. Right, so women can work. We've been doing it for a long time. It's going to be really hard to take that away from us. And the only reason why, in my personal opinion, why we don't feel secure is because mentally we know men are not in a position because it was taken from them, right? An intelligent woman knows this, right? It's not a competition. Somebody who doesn't really have the information or the knowledge, they know intuitively. So it comes out in a certain way. Well, I don't need you for this and I don't need you for that. And even though it's bite back and it's negative, as a man, you still should have some level of understanding to be like, the same way a woman should know that this is not real. We're not really in a battle against each other. This is societal norms now, right? This is what it has become. It does not mean that that has to be our story or how we live our lives inside our personal private homes. We know we're in a situation where somebody might not be able to get a job. Point blank, period. That's just the bottom line. The thing that we have to define is, okay, what does that look like for us moving forward? What position now are each one of us going to be in, whether it's a male position or a female position? And that's going to be tough. As I'm sitting here describing all this stuff and making it feel and sound really good, just because this is what this energy represents, I'm also taking the time out to keep it really 100, to really understand that you're now picking people who are reflecting what you need to fix, right? So think of people as energies and not as these negative connotations that they're coming with, if that's your case, right? You have to redefine how you want to have this conversation, because at the end of the day, whether you're dealing with somebody who's messed up or not, it's still you can only change you. So you have to start with you. So if you're attracting that type of energy, whether you want to admit it or not, it's coming from you. It's something that you need to heal, something you need to deal with, something you need to recognize within yourself, to step back and be like, okay, how can I do this differently? Because until you do that, you're going to continue to attract the same type of energy, right? So we're not in this energy no more where we can play the victim role. Everybody has to play their part in understanding what it means to to be accountable and responsible for their actions and who they are and what you do want to bring into your life. And that goes to both roles, by the way, men and women. Whatever your hang-ups or hiccups are, these are the types of things that this energy is saying we need to work with. And so I'll try to put that link down there, but I really liked the way that Fantasia and her husband described it. It gave me a different perspective to think about, and maybe it'll help you too. So you'll start to feel and think and communicate in a Libra way, allowing for teamwork, negotiation, collaboration, healing, codependent issues. You can appreciate different viewpoints without seeing them as judgment, and avoid needless disputes, right? So that's basically what I was just talking about. It's the opportunity to really work on those things coming from a different mindset. You may enjoy good food, clothes, enjoyment, entertainment, connecting, good social events. You'll be triggered to act in a productive way, to make changes in your values. I think that's a really good place to start. When you start thinking about having these conversations, is really asking yourself, what is my value? What do I value? What do I want? And moving forward into the future, really taking in and sitting down and thinking about, like, what is it that I'm looking for moving forward in order to make some changes about your relationships. This may take longer to form anything that you're working on in this time, because the Saturn just turned direct. This is really going to be about, because Saturn is a very slow planet, it's all about timing. You'll have to do everything by the book. If you have a culture that you follow, or any rules, laws, if this is a business relationship, You'll have to respect the authority of that. Anything that you are starting new, it will be a lot of work and responsibility, because that's what Saturn energy represents. But it'll be strong and long lasting. Like, it'll be worth doing the work, taking the steps, and not skipping over or rushing into things. And just the shadow side of what Libra is, like, this is going to be about, like, so any strong relationship, you're going to be triggered to change in some kind of way. Okay, whether the relationship is strong or weak. But what it's going to do is it's going to take weaker relationships and completely rip them apart. So I had posted something a while ago about, I'm learning now that anything that happens to me is not happening to me, it's happening for me, right? To step back and be like, okay, so if it was taken out of my life for whatever reason, I got to sit down and stop and think and be like, okay, this happened for a reason. Either rethink, regroup, reconnect, or rethink, regroup, and move forward with better values, rules, etc., right? Just, again, trying to take myself out of that victim mentality instead of reacting and being like, oh, this person is after me for such and such reason, or, this is happening to me for such and such reason, and being all wild up in that energy. Just really stepping back and be like, nope, you know what, this wasn't meant for me. So now I know I got to go back, regroup, come up with a different plan. And if you come up in that different plan to understand that you were wrong in some kind of way, own that, right? Stand up and be like, you know what, go back to that person, let's start over, right? And come up with a plan around that and really have the discussion about it. Or it's going to be the opposite, where you're like, nope, I know that I was right. I did everything right. I'm a respectful person. I'm a different person. I've been trying to change. That's just the end of that cycle. It's because Saturn is involved, that means it's a karmic cycle ending in relationships in some way, shape, or form. You learned your lesson about something and it's time to move on, right? If you're continuously being in that energy and seeing that, that means you haven't learned why that thing is still coming up, or you're not dealing with it. So you have to be able to deal with it in order to move on into some new energy. So any weak relationship is going to fall away. Any strong relationship is going to have the opportunity to grow even stronger. Okay? Some of the shadow side of Libra is balancing. It's really going to be about understanding, balancing your relationships between you and others. New beginnings, wherever you have Libra in your chart, adjustments that need to take place to make changes in your relationships, opportunities to start something new. Because this is going to be conjunct with Pluto, and I'm going to do a separate video on Pluto because Pluto's turning direct on October 3rd. And that's a darker, more heavier, intense energy. This is going to bring up fear for a lot of people. Fear of change. Fear of wanting better or not knowing any better. So they're fearful of change. People might feel threatened or jealous about some of the changes that you're trying to make. You might have power and control issues, and it may not just be, somebody having power, trying to have power and control over you, but this could be internally too, right? Like having trouble with power and control issues within yourself, and I think that's the worst fight ever. Honestly, that's tough, a tough position to be in. Other people might hang on extremely tight to other people. They may become very manipulative to hold on to the past They may become possessive, fear of loss. This might bring in issues with finances with people that you deal with, in your family, business, or romantic. Remember, this is about all relationships. So really just being mindful about that and pay attention. Remember, don't be reactive, be proactive. So if these things are coming up for you and they're happening in such a way where people are acting like that, step back, regroup, figure it out. Know that this is that time where people are from October 3rd especially until the end of November. This is gonna ramp up real quick. So anybody in your life who has a problem with you um, will become, it'll come to light. You'll be like, oh, I didn't know you really felt like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start talking about change and how you want to do good things for yourself now, and you start actually taking those action steps, you will experience some kind of message, knowledge, information, the way people are acting towards you, that are really going to start to show their true feelings about you. So be prepared for that. Keep your eyes open. Protect yourself. Um, and yeah, happy new moon in Libra. I hope this information was helpful. If you have any questions or if you want a reading, feel free to inbox me. And I hope everybody has a good day. Peace.